What an honor to be here with you. I'm very thankful that Cherokee would trust your hearts with my heart, because sometimes it's a Jodie heart, not a Jesus heart. So, you know how that is, right? I mean, we're girls, and anyway, I'll move on. So, how has your week been? Has it been a good week? Yeah? Crazy week, busy week, slow week, boring week? I mean, we may be going back into quarantine, so you better be getting used to being bored. I'm just saying. So, well, my week is good. I had a good week. It was kind of busy. I'm full-time at Davis County High School. I work in the library there, and so I was there until about 3:30 today, and then went home, ate some pizza, changed my clothes, and here I am. I'm all yours. And so, I'm so sorry about that, and I'm kidding. But it was a good week. Also, part of my week sometimes is making sure the church that I attend, Owensboro Christian Church, has water stockage for our attendees of the weekend. I am part-time there as a First Impressions kind of host. And so I make sure that people have what they need when they walk in the door. Mints, water, a good greeting, a hug. If I was allowed, I would hug them everyone. But I'm not allowed to do that right now. I hug Angie, though, and Jenny. Jenny back there. Say hi, Jenny. She's so sweet. So I get these waters at Sam's usually, at least every other week. Have you ever bought a big case of water at Sam's? Those little 80 packs of waters? They're heavy. They're very heavy, and I get about 10 packs. You put about 10 packs of 80 waters on one of those flatbed carts. I don't push that. But if I ever do push that, please record it, because it'll be really funny. It'll be super funny. So I have to have my husband do that, because I can't handle that on my own. I have to have help doing that. Something I can handle, unfortunately, if I'm left in a room by myself, is a full bag of Grippos. Some chocolate ice cream. I love Grippos, they're my favorite. But with that said, have you ever heard the quote, "He'll never put anything on you that you can't handle"? Have you ever said that to advice to someone, received that advice given to you, and you thought, I'm not sure about that? Okay, well, I have thought that. That saying, that quote, has never really settled quite cozily into my spirit. Like, really? He'll never put anything on you that you can't handle? Like, then why would we need him? Why do we need a God in heaven to pray to and need and want and desire if we'll never go through anything that we can't handle? And so I can just tell you that I've been through seasons of struggle myself, seasons of stretching, seasons of sadness. Like my husband and I and our 3 boys, we have 3 boys. Ian will be 18 in December. He's going to go off to college. I know. It's so sad. And then Isaiah is 14, and Eli, baby Eli, he's 11, but I still call him my baby. Like, okay, we've been in 3 different churches in 3 different states. That's fun, but it's hard. We've moved. We've been through celebrations with people in these places. We've developed relationships with people in these places. We've mourned with people in these places. We've watched businesses open that friends have opened. We've prayed people through their own seasons in these places, and then we've had to, leave. And that's not just for my husband and I, that's for our boys. They were on sports teams where they, were like, oh, we're going to be here till we graduate. We're going to see this team win, go to the state. And then we've, had to leave. And I could always feel that when a season of change was coming, when a shift was getting ready to happen, I could feel it. I knew Eric would be coming to me soon saying, it's almost time to go. I feel like God's moving something around. And I'd be like, okay, where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. That's easy to say, and you mean it with your whole heart. But it's hard. It's so hard. And this last time, actually just a year ago, we moved back home here in Owensboro from West Virginia, where we lived for 6 years. We were the kind of family life pastors there. We did everyone's weddings. We did the funerals. We counseled. We got close to people. And my oldest was in the middle of his junior year. And we didn't make that decision lightly to move back home. We had conversation with him, make sure he was okay with it, because he was going to start on the basketball team there, and he's 6'5", he's not small. And so we didn't make that decision lightly. But he was like, sure, I trust you, Mom and Dad. Same, like he didn't quote Ruth, although he's 17. But I could feel it in his heart. That's what he wanted to say. I could see it. But he came. And of course, in the move, I put on myself. He didn't put that on me. No one else put it on me, but a little bit of mom guilt. You know what I mean? Because I moved him in the middle of his junior year, and I wouldn't let him go his first day of school until after lunch was over, because I didn't want him to have to look for somebody to sit with in the lunchroom. Do you know that that's hard? Girls? To find your people on the new boy, I mean, he's a stud. But to walk in the lunchroom where you know nobody, and you're going to stand out when you're 6'5", and like, who's he going to sit with? Like, he knows nobody. And so I wouldn't let him go to school until after lunch. So that way you wouldn't have to worry about it. And then it took, over an hour to get his schedule, arranged, because there in West Virginia they had 7 periods. Here at Davis County they have 4 blocks, and so that was hard to handle itself. But I didn't have to do it; the counselor did. I just had to sit there. But anyway, so we got him settled, but still, they let him on the basketball team. He didn't even have to try out. They let him on, but did he start? No. Was he gonna start? Yeah. But things changed. And I know in my heart that all of that happened for a reason. That grew him this time, right now, grew him for a future later that he's going to realize. He's going to be like, wow, I walked through that. I can walk through this. He's going to realize that then. And all of those moves, all of those shifts had in-between moments of living with family. That's hard to handle. I'm just saying. 2 different times we lived with my husband's aunt and uncle, who are thebomb.com. They are amazing. I have no complaint about them. But their home is not my home. We had one bath, we were on this side of the house, and we had our own bathroom, but a mom, a dad, and 3 boys in the bathroom. I mean, how many raised boys around here? They're never fully potty trained. I mean, you're always going to be cleaning up pee. I'm sorry, girls. Sorry. I'm preparing you. Another hard to handle thing that my family walked through was my husband started having seizures. Actually, while we were the youth pastors here. This church was called Calvary Temple then. I don't know if you remember that or not, but he started having seizures. Cherokee and Aaron actually were witness to his very first one. I was not around. I was probably at Target. But they were witness to his very first one. Now, they weren't convulsive type seizures. They were more like he would space out, drool, and slap his lips like that. And that would last maybe 30 seconds then. And then it would take him about 5 minutes to recoup. But then as the years went on, that lasted about 11 years. A doctor here said he was hypoglycemic. Did an x-ray on him and didn't see anything, so said he was just hypoglycemic. And probably a year or 2 later, they put him on seizure medication just to try to do something. And they would work for a minute, like a honeymoon stage, I guess. In Georgia, that doctor didn't do any tests, just put him on more medicine. Finally, the Lord moved us to West Virginia. Like, who wants to move to West Virginia? It has to be the Lord, that's a whole testimony in itself. Like, that story is like the guy dipping in the River Jordan. Like, I don't want to dip in the River Jordan. I don't want to move to West Virginia. But God was like, no, this is where you need to be. And so there was a doctor determined enough. He spent 2 years trying to figure out these seizures. So by then, of course, it was like 14 years Eric had been having them. And they had grown to be like, they still lasted about 30 minutes or 30 seconds to a minute, but they'd grown to like 11 a day. His, memory was, questionable, short-term memory wasn't very good. But that doctor figured it out, and in 2016, Eric had 2 brain surgeries, and now he is 4 years seizure-free. So yeah, 4 years. But could I handle that on my own? Heck to the no. I could not handle that on my own. That was all God. He gave me a word that year called unshaken. I don't know if you all do that, if you choose a word for your year, but I call it my one word. That year, my word was unshaken. And God gave it to me in January. I didn't know why, but I was like, okay, that sounds good. That'll look good on a bracelet. But unshaken. Well, that season of 2016, that summer, I didn't feel fear. I just trusted. I trusted God would take care of it because I couldn't handle it on my own. It had to be Him. And with all of that said, I just want to change the words of that quote. He will never put anything on you that you and He can't handle together. But here's something that He won't do. He will not ever put another person's calling on you. Never. Even with Him, even you and He, even with Him, you cannot carry another person's calling, and He doesn't want you to. Do you have water? Okay. And He doesn't want you to. You have been entrusted with a treasure fitted just for you. One that only you can carry. Let me just say, looking at these sweet girls, I've always looked with the most envious eyes. Christy knows this. She's my girl over there. People who can sing. People who can lead tens of people to thousands of people in worship with their voice. Like, I can just imagine what that must feel like to stand on the stage with this God-given ability to sing and lead people in worship and look out and see them lifting God's name, with their hands raised. What an honor that must be, and how pleasing that must be to the Lord, Like, oh, yes, Lord, that's good. I just feel like that's got to be an amazing feeling. But I cannot sing. God did not give me that ability. My husband actually tells me I sing in the key of J. That's not a real key. That's how special I am. I have my own key. Don't be jealous. Get your own key. I'm kidding. Get your own key. But there's a reason probably why some of us have gifts and some of us, specific gifts and some of us don't. There's a reason I can't sing because I would probably be like a super diva. Nobody could stand me. Be like, girl, you better recognize who you are. Remember, you came from Eastern Kentucky. Slow your roll. So I would be so diva, and I'd just be like taking all the glory. My bright painted red lips, like, thank you. Yes, I just led you to the Lord's presence. Yes, I did. You're welcome. You're welcome. That would be me, so that's why the Lord didn't let me sing. But let's move on. Let's put down the rock star status and our lipstick, and let's pick up the word finally. That's probably what you're thinking, like, Lord, shut up. Get her to shut up. Like, let's get to the word. So go with me to 1 Samuel 17. And once you're there, go down to verse 38. Don't mind me. Just dropping stuff. All right. Verse 38. Then Saul had his own military clothes put on David. So at this point, David has seen Goliath. The Israelites and the Philistines, they're lined up on each side. They're getting ready to go to battle. Goliath's over here. Red Rover, please send somebody over. I'm ready to fight, And they're like, no, we're scared to death. And Jesse's sending David with bread and cheese. He's going to make them a grilled cheese because you got to have grilled cheese. If you're going to go into battle, you got to have your food fuel. I do. Anyway, I had 54 cheese breadsticks before I came here. They were so good. So anyway, So Saul had put on his own military clothes on David. He put a bronze helmet on David's head and had him put on armor. David strapped his sword on over the military clothes and tried to walk, but he was not used to them. I can't walk in these, David said to Saul. I'm not used to them. So David took them off. Instead, he took his staff in his hand and chose 5 smooth stones from the wadi and put them in his pouch, his shepherd's bag. Then with his sling in his hand, he approached the Philistine. Now, when I was a little girl, I had a really good imagination. I've kind of like outgrown it a little bit, if you can tell. But there's 5 of us. I was the 4th of 5 kids. I have 3 brothers and a sister. But my 3 older siblings were already moved out, gone, started their own lives by the time I was probably 8. And my little brother, well, he was a boy. So I played by myself. Unless we were playing He-Man and She-Ra, and then I won. But I remember loving to be like a fancy businesswoman. I would put on, my Sunday dresses and my mom's high heel shoes and get my daddy's briefcase, and I'd walk around the house like I was on an airplane. I was trying to get to my plane, and the couch in the fancy room, I called it in the fancy room, was my plane. And so I'd walk through the house, and I'd sit on the plane with my briefcase, and, I'd go wherever I was going. But it was hard to walk in my mom's shoes. They were too big. And a girl is not going to catch her plane if her heels are flopping. It's hard to walk in floppy heels. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. And so David said, I can't walk in these. Just like we can't walk in our floppy heels. We can't walk in our mom's shoes, as great as mom is. We can't walk in her shoes. We have our own. David said, I can't walk in these. The armor that had been put on him had been put on him not by God, but by someone else. It was Saul's to carry, not David's. Another person's calling will never fit us right. It will never lay across the curves of our personality or stretch across the muscles of our growth like our own will. David wanted to walk boldly and confidently, and he knew he couldn't do that in someone else's calling, in someone else's armor. I love, this is funny, this is what I see in David. He wasn't intimidated to speak up about it either. It's like, I can't walk in these. He wasn't trying to impress Saul or impress all his brothers or the Israelites. He's like, I can't walk in these. I'm not going to wear these. I'm not going to try to like it just because you do. I can't walk in these. And he didn't care about the approval. He had already been approved by God. He had been approved, he had been anointed, and he had been appointed. And he was walking in that. He didn't care about Saul. I mean, he cared about him, obviously, but not what he thought. And he also never said, because I can imagine myself in his situation, oh, it doesn't fit. I can't wear them. I must not be called. Darn it. I must have missed the line when God was knitting me in my mother's womb. I must have missed the line for the talents. I didn't raise my hand in time when he was handing out the gifts. Darn it. Have you ever done that? Have you ever had a pity party? I have. I've had a pity party in my trying to figure things out moments, Oh, well, I don't have hair like Lisa Turkhurst, so obviously I can't write or speak. Well, I'm not as skinny as Heidi Klum. I better not order those boots off Amazon because I won't look as good as her in them. I'm not as strong as Saul, so I better not try to fight Goliath. I sure wish I had the job she had. I sure wish I could stay home with my kids. I sure wish I didn't have to stay home with my kids. Have you ever done that? Well, notice when David took off Saul's armor, notice what he put on. He put on what brought him comfort, what brought him confidence, his shepherd's staff and bag. David was a shepherd, And he was with the sheep when he got called to be king. He was out there tending, here comes Samuel. Guess what? You'll never guess. I'm kidding. As a boy, David took special pride in the selection of his staff. It had been specifically suited for his size, for his strength, for his height. I imagine he no doubt had it with him when he, met up with a lion and a bear. I'm sure, he had it with him. So it doesn't surprise me that he had it with him now when he's meeting up with a giant. I mean, him not having it with him would be like me going to Target without my purse. Why? Why go to Target? I'm not there to window shop. I am there to conquer and save the world. Did you know you can save the world at Target? It has everything. And so does Amazon. Hello, these boots came from Amazon. David's staff was an extension of his own, his own right arm. It was a symbol of his authority, his strength, and his power when he was in the field with his sheep. A shepherd's staff, I actually have one with me tonight. It's a toy one, but it's so cute. It came from Amazon too. Look how cute it is. I had to hide it from my boys. They're like, please bring it home so we can break it. Okay. So it has a curved end on it, and that fits perfectly around the neck of his sheep so he can, guide them in the right direction. Not so he can be mean and break them, but so he can guide them in the right direction. Now, the Bible doesn't say that David used it for anything specific. He just had it in his hand. And I kind of wonder if he used the rod part of the staff. Hold on, I'm going to do a trick. Not really. But if he used the rod part of the staff to move the stones around in the water until he found his 5 smooth ones. Because sometimes don't we have to move things around a bit? Yeah. Well, for me, my staff is a pen in my hand. A pen in my hand, moving words around in my prayer journal as I fight and pray for my calling. Because I can think all kinds of thoughts and they can get all tangled up in my brain like a plate of spaghetti. You know how your noodles are tangled up and you got to pick out what's yours. So my staff is my pen in my hand. What's yours? Do you need to move your phone out of the way? Move your phone out of the way so you can find what's smoothly yours? Do you need to, preach it to myself, move Netflix out of the way? So you can make time for the Word? Do you need to forget about your needs? But I need my phone, but I need Netflix, but I need to shop, but I need my friends, but I need a man. Get out of your needs. Get down to the bottom of it. And get on your knees. And figure it out. He's got a calling just for you. Fitted just for you. Once David had his smooth stones picked out, he placed them in his pouch, his shepherd's bag. On other occasions, David used his bag to carry his lunch, maybe his grilled cheese, first aid in case he fell, I guess. But this day, he carried a treasured weapon in his pouch, a treasure he knew he could handle. Only then did he approach the Philistine. Did you catch that? Only then. Only when he was carrying that which brought strength and purpose to his calling could he move forward. When we try to move forward in the strength and the purpose meant for someone else, we'll feel stuck, depleted, and weighed down. You can't move with the speed and accuracy of a smooth stone if you're weighed down. I can't walk in these, so David took them off. Ladies, it's time to take it off. No, I'm kidding. That came out wrong. Honestly, didn't mean it to come out that way. Sorry. I forget there's teenagers here. Okay. that Jesus loves you. And I do too. It's time to take off what's weighing us down. So let's take off the I wish I coulds and put on the here I am, Lord. Use me for what you've called me to do. When we're open to his way and his will, the way will always make a way. I remember times saying, but I don't know what my staff and bag are. I don't know. I can't sing like her. My voice, I have an Eastern Kentucky accent. Hello. People don't know what I'm saying half the time. I don't know what fits me. Well, maybe I knew. I just didn't know I knew. I'm sure that day David didn't necessarily feel like he was walking out a calling. He was just doing the next right thing. He was just doing what was right in that moment. Unknowingly to him, the next right thing was preparation for the next right thing. Now, David may have had the luxury of a prophet coming to visit him, pulling him away from his sheep for an afternoon to tell him his calling audibly, face to face, you are going to be king. But Samuel didn't tell him when, right? He was like in his 30s by the time he actually became king. He was a teen when he was anointed. That's a long time. I'd probably give up, be like, this is never going to happen. You know, I must have heard him wrong. But we are called according to our purpose. And what does our purpose require? Preparation. We have to be prepared. You can't go from womb to walking. Can you imagine? That would be funny looking. Right now, maybe your next right step is standing strong in your right now. Wherever you are, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, stand strong in it right now, no matter how big or small. I can tell you, you would laugh. You'd be like, I can't even believe we let you up here to speak to us after you're telling us this. But when Cherokee asked me to do this, to speak, to trust me, to open my mouth to you, I was like, well, I already have plans that weekend. And she was like, well, how about the next weekend? I was like, oh, snap, I don't have nothing that weekend. Like, I gotta say yes now, you know. Actually, it's my brother's birthday in Florida that day. No, I'm kidding. So I said yes. And I trusted God with my right now. Because I know deep down in the pit of myself all the way to the outside of myself that God told me I was going to speak one day years and years ago. He told me, you're going to do this. I was like, right. You're so funny. But hello, look at me. In front of all. These are my girls right here. You make me so happy. I wish y'all could see her smile. It's so pretty. It's so good. You'll have to stand up later and show them your smile. It's so good. It stretches from ear to ear. I love it. But so I started preparing for this, and thank the Lord for fall break, because this is my fall break right here. Tonight and tomorrow, you're getting my fall break. Because this is what I did. This is when I had time. You know, because when I would come home from school, I'd be like, oh, I'm just so tired, and I need to do a load of laundry, and Isaiah needs to go buy a game, and, you know, excuse, because I was afraid to start. Because I was afraid I wouldn't do it right. I was afraid my words wouldn't make sense. I was afraid, but I don't know the depths of theology well enough. You know what I mean? Thank God for Google. And it has the answer to everything. But here I am. And I just, like, when I was writing this and, like, thinking, like, why did you call me to this? Like, why did you call me to be a writer and a speaker? Because I have this blog. It's called freeandfancy.com. And writing a little blog to writing 2 messages on a weekend, that's a big difference. You know? right? And like something that you takes three swipes to read through to this, it's different. It takes a little more work, a lot more prayer, a lot more snacks. I'm a snacker. But I did it, and like I kept hearing Noah's voice from the notebook. Please, if you haven't seen the notebook, don't tell me, because I'll be so disappointed. But I kept hearing Noah's voice to Allie. So it's not going to be easy. It's going to be really, really hard. We're going to have to work at this every day. But I want this because I want you, Allie. Right? That's what was going through my head. God, this is so hard. God, I got to work at this every day, though, and I'm so tired. But I want it so bad. So I'm going to do it. In all of my yawns and all of my tears, I'd cry to my husband like, but I'm not good enough. But I smarted off to somebody at work today. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want me to stand in front of women and preach to them, Eric's like, it's okay. You're a human being. People need to see human beings right now. I'm like, oh, well, okay. I can be a human being. And I showered for you today. Tomorrow my hair will be dirty with dry shampoo. So right now, ladies, let's take off the rope of doubt, put on the belt of truth around our waist. Stop lying to yourself. You are called. Stop lying to yourself. You can do it. If you feel in your heart He's told you to, then you can do it. He's not going to tell you something and then take it away and be like, ha ha, trick or treat. Smell my feet. I was just kidding. Don't despise the day of small beginnings, because He who began a good work in you will finish it to completion until the day of Christ. So until Christ comes back, He's completing you. He's working out your calling. He's working out your mission. You have a mission. If you're still here walking on this planet, even with a mask on, covering up your beautiful smile, you still have a purpose. You are here for a reason. Stop believing the lies of the enemy and put on the armor of righteousness that protects your heart. The enemy's never going to set you in the direction of your calling. He has come to steal, kill, and destroy, and he will keep you as far away from where you need to be as possible if you will let him. Do not let him. He doesn't love you. He didn't die on a cross for you. He will make you fall straight down and beg you to stay. Don't stay down. Do not stay down. Take off laziness and put on the sandals of readiness that will make your feet ready to go. You have got what it takes to be willing to go. You will never see your dreams come true from the couch. As amazing as it would be if they would. Because who doesn't love a good PJ day with no makeup on? Praise you, Jesus. Like, those are the best days when you don't have to wash your makeup off. Like, that's the best saved 5 minutes of my life, is when I don't have to wash my face at night. Isn't that terrible? But sometimes I just really love to be lazy. That's probably really bad to say. But sometimes it's so good to just be in your comfy clothes with your snacks. Just be lazy, but if we're not putting action in front of us, our dreams will never come true from the couch. So get up and put down the bucket that you've been collecting lies and limitation in. And pick up the shield of faith that stops those thoughts in their tracks. You do have what it takes. You are called. So why would he call you to something and then just leave you to make a mockery of his name? He's not going to do that. He's called you for a reason because he trusts you. He knew what he was doing when he made you. Oh, she's going to be so good at this. She's not going to believe it at first. She's going to deny it in the beginning. She's probably going to dread it when I tell her she has to speak in front of some ladies at Ignite 360. I asked Cherokee if there was such a thing, if it was okay to be excited and dreadful at the same time. And she said it was okay. I said, okay, good. I said, I love you, but I was a little dreadful. I mean, I wasn't going to cry if COVID canceled the whole thing. Sorry. Please forgive me, Lord. Take away COVID. Ooh, that was real honest. Okay. You can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. Through him. Through him. And sometimes I find myself thinking it's easier to stay so busy in all the wrong things so that I don't have to be scared in the right things. So I don't have to focus on what he wants me to do, what he's made me to do, because that's scary. It's so much easier to stay busy in my work and in doing the laundry and in vacuuming, because the boys make their own lunch while I'm at school and while Eric's at work, because they're all virtual. Hello. Did you know it can be really messy to make your own peanut butter and jelly sandwich at 11? It's really messy. So let's take off the hat of easiness, put down the stick of busyness, and put on the helmet of salvation and pick up the sword of the Spirit that will lead us confidently into all our next right steps. The next right step is right now for all of us, right now. So put on the armor of God and say, I can walk in these. I can. I can wake up every morning and get my kids where they need to be. I can plan this party. I can plan this women's conference. I've never done it before, but I can. It's scary, but I can. I can come speak in front of a group of ladies that have no idea who I am. I can, because he said I could. I can. What is your I can? You can. You can walk in this, because he's anointed, appointed, and approved you for it already. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Believe it, know it, and do it. Let's pray. Lord, I thank you for this opportunity. What an amazing honor to share your words, to share your vision through my mouth. Lord, I just pray that your truths laid sweetly on the hearts of these women, Lord, and that gave them action steps to carry out of here. Lord, I pray that they remember what you're telling them right now. Whatever calling you've called them to, whatever dream you've laid in their mind and in their heart, Lord, I pray that they remember it and that they do their next right step to make it there one day. That you would prepare them for such a time as now and for such a time as then and for such a time as then after that. Lord, give them excitement. Give them a little bit of dread, because that's what gives us motivation. Excitement and love and a little bit of fear, Lord, because we can do it in our fear. Lord, I just pray, Lord, that they would sleep so well tonight and that we would wake up ready to worship you again and to receive your word again and to receive your love again, Lord. Thank you for the way that you love us. Thank you for the way that you call us. Thank you for the way that you believe in us. And thank you that you are faithful and that we can trust you. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.